Good morning.
Just Q. What's up, man?
Appreciate it, y'all. John, the small mountain. Happy birthday.
Yes, thank you, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
40. I wouldn't have guessed, man.
I got on a call with a book coach the other day because I wrote a book, or kind of wrote a book thing, and we're trying to figure out what to do with it. And she goes, "Oh my God, you look so young." And I was like, "Well, the beard actually makes my girlfriend feel like she's not robbing the cradle. So it's all about perception, I guess."
Yeah.
All about perception. I love it.
All about perception.
40 is young, though. 40 is young. I'm looking forward to my 40s. I'm not even at 30 yet, but
Oh God. The life force just like seeps out of me when I hear that stuff. No, I was journaling last night and I was, okay, how do I feel about this? And I don't feel old. I don't feel decrepit or anything else like this. So largely it's just like a mental milestone, and
yeah.
I was hanging out with the guys from the podcast last night and we were talking about the birthday and everything else. And Clint, who's our just straight D, he's very assertive and abrasive and take charge kind of dude. And he's like, "We're just going hard at 41, bro." And I was like, "All right, cool. I'm down for that." So yeah, man.
Well, Q, so for those of you that don't know that Q's about, tell us a little bit about your business, which you had going on in the last year. Just catch everybody up.
Yeah. Thank you for directing that intro, man. I hate the tell me your story. Tell me where you've been. I just don't even know what to say anymore. But the last year, basically, to give context for the last year, I launched 2 businesses before Urban Misadventures, which is my business currently. First one was a virtual reality startup. That one tanked within 6 months because I was a loser and had no idea what I was doing. Second one was an agency, and I pivoted from everything from full stack to just content marketing to just social to personal branding. And I kind of bounced all over the place, and I really found myself in the personal branding space. And then Urban Misadventures absorbed that client base. And then we became essentially we owned 2 different companies, one a marketing agency, the other an events company that worked on very avant-garde, unique experiences, things like fashion shows, pop-ups, things like that. That was us. And then beginning of 2020, Q1, making a lot of money, more money than we ever had, growing quickly. Team was like firing on all cylinders. And then COVID happened. And then everything else happened. And honestly, we lost so much money right away, because marketing is the first thing that people cut, or first thing that companies cut. We had clients go out of business, just a lot of struggle, a lot of adversity, like everybody's facing, so we ended up having to furlough 3 employees. And then again, more clients going out of business, more people cutting things, and we could keep it going, but ultimately we've decided that it's just best for us not to. And I think I'm at that stage in my life where it's like I'm sick of marketing products, in all honesty. I'm sick of telling business stories. I think they're great. I think I just really want to work on something meaningful now. So I'm in the process of figuring out what that is, and I'm fortunate to be able to take that time. So I'm working on a new show, really pushing the boundaries of what storytelling and what brand sounds like for me. And then on the download right now, but it's Facebook, whatever. I'm also working on a angel fund for Black and Brown founders, and then an incubator for Black and Brown founders as well right now.
Oh,
and then I'm waiting for something major outside of those 2 things to just grip me, where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put everything into this, and I just haven't found that thing yet. But that's where I'm at. That's what I've been up to in the past year, just getting punched in the face a lot.
so is everybody else, man.
Indeed.
When you had to furlough the people on your team, right? Because on the outside looking into this thing, like you and Izzy and all these guys are super close. What was that like, having to furlough people? Was it just brutal? Did they get it? Was it hey, sorry? And it was just how do you have that conversation when you are as close with everybody on the team and probably have a pretty solid culture inside of there?
Yeah. It's one of the hardest things that we've all ever had to do. There were, I think, 8 of us. And then right before that, maybe a month, right when COVID happened, we're okay, we're going to figure this out. We're starting to lose people already. but we'll hold on, and from a business standpoint, that was not smart because we lost a lot of money because we were paying people like to do 5 hours of work, we're paying them full time. From a business standpoint, that wasn't smart, but that's who we are. We're close. Like, let's figure it out. Let's do this. And we did everything that we could. And then we had to have that conversation. Like, we're not able to do this. And it was a different reaction from everybody. And we were really, really close. Some of us more than others, but one person was very close with someone else, but like we all cried probably on our own time. Like, I talked to everybody individually after that as well. 2 were able to find a job right away with actually a former client, which I was very happy about. Like, it hurt a little bit, but those are my people, but like,
Yeah.
I was very happy about it, and I've been able to see them grow into something more than they were when they first got there. But it sucked, bro. And our final employee that we didn't furlough, that has been working with us, we still have clients now. We're just, until contracts are up. When we told him like we're going to be shutting the doors, like at first, you could tell like, yeah, this sucks. But again, like we hung on to him because he was having a baby, like, and I didn't take any pay. No one else took any pay. Like, we're just going to take care of this guy because he took a massive chance on us. He's the oldest of the group, having a baby, like just got married. So like, yeah, we'll do this. And after that, like, he understood, like 1,000% he understood. And now he's actually going to be launching his own production studio with one of my former and actually current business partners as well. So I'm proud of them, and they all figured it out, and like, they're exactly who I knew they were when we hired them. So while it sucks, I know they'll all do big things.
I love that line. Dude, like, that's the nugget, they improved, and they showed up as they were. That's awesome, man. Let's talk about some esports, bro, because that's your jam. And like, I just wanted to talk business for about 3 minutes, and then I just wanted to like ask you about gaming, because I see your stuff, and I'm like, oh damn, because I'm about to fall down this hole again, right? Because a friend of mine, he lives in Chicago, and he just got a gaming rig, and he's a professional poker player. So he got his gaming rig to run these huge, complex like poker simulations and get his equities and stuff like this. And it just also happens to play like every high-end legit game, but it's for poker, and so now he's like, man, let's game together. And I'm like, dude, I sit here for 12 hours a day in front of my machine. Like, I don't want to computer game at this machine, right? Because like, this is my workspace. If I start gaming here, I will always game here, and I won't get any work done. So
stop sleeping.
Yeah, that's true. Sleep, man. So WoW almost ruined my life. Like
WoW almost ruined a lot of people's lives.
Oh man, I got it. I was playing some games with some other guys. The beta came out. I went and bought a beta key on eBay and started playing this thing, and the game comes out. And I stopped going to Kung Fu, right? And like, I'd been in the Kung Fu like environment, martial arts for, I mean, at that point, 4 or 5 years. And so then it was like, okay, cool. I'm about to level, right? So like, I'm going to miss intro class because I'm in the advanced class, right? So like, I'm not going to go teach and help out my Kung Fu brothers and sisters because I'm going to get this level. And then it's like, oh, well, now I got to get gear and spells and, all of this stuff. And so then all of a sudden, like one day I was like, man, I'm not going to Kung Fu. Like, screw this. Like, uninstalled, was completely over it. And now
it's another life,
man. I had to kind of draw this line with like the games that I play, like Jake likes Skyrim, and I'm like, I can't touch it. Like, I know I will never come back up for air ever again.
Dude, I'm the same way, man. I remember like I had withdrawals from MMOs as in college, like, cause I was playing them all the time. I had my friends, like, I was like, damn, what the fuck is happening to me? And there's nothing wrong with any of that. Like, I'm a big gamer, but I can't do until like we live in like Ready Player One. Like, I refuse to play an MMO unless it's like legit for research. But I'm like, I get giddy about competitive stuff just because I'm competitive. I suck at FPSs. I just moved to PC like a couple months ago, and I'm not that good, but I'm so freaking competitive, and I like beating people. So like, anything comp, I'm about anything. It doesn't matter what it is.
Man,
so,
go ahead.
What did you say?
You're getting ready to go down the esports route. You were talking about like team stuff. You were talking about like a podcast around like the business of esports and stuff like that. Where has that led you to this point? Because obviously, we all like to game, but what's the business side that you thought of?
Yeah, the podcast I've decided to just scrap because I am working on a new show. I do want to incorporate esports things into that as well because it is something I'm super passionate about. on the business side, I don't think owning an organization, owning a team is a good investment right now, just because of the way that leagues are structured. The what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, you just have to spend a lot of money, and you're not going to make a lot of money unless
That's
you
a
go
loss
about it
leader.
very strategically. I'm blanking on the word that I was looking for. But overall, the business of esports, I think it is a very, very smart play. It's a huge industry, man. It's not slowing down. Fastest growing entertainment phenomenon in the world, like period. Like just something that I'm super giddy about. And I think it's going to be something that impacts a lot of people. I see it getting bigger than traditional sports. Well, I love traditional sports, it just, there are limitations to what the human body can do until you start augmenting the human body. But even then, to me, I'd rather watch the Hunger Games than basketball. And I freaking love basketball, but when you're actually in it and you can feel it, and I don't know, like, that's where I want to be, whether that is owning an organization or launching a gaming studio that's working on an augmented reality video game. I don't know what that is specifically. I'm just waiting for something to grip me. But the podcast did allow me to build a lot of relationships in the business space and leverage what I already had done. So that's kind of what I'm doing now, just still building the network until I'm like, yeah, this is that thing that I want to do. Because I know I can make a lot of money in this space. I want to do something meaningful again.
And you live in Milwaukee, right, Quentin?
Yeah.
Man, so
not the best for esports.
Well, but like I love this idea, right? Because like if you go to LinkedIn and you watch Q's videos and you watch his stuff and everything else like this, and you hear him talk about everything, and you have a conversation with him, the last place that I mentally put Q is in Milwaukee, because my mental vision of Milwaukee is, I don't know, like pure 80s refineries and smoke and stuff like this. And like, there's nothing going on there. And then like this legit guy is like working on really cool stuff and has his shit together. And I just think that's awesome, right? Like there's pockets of cool shit going on in like any city that is going on. You just have to go find it. There's small business stuff going on. There's sports stuff. Like the ability to go deep into the things that you're really into has never been easier. There's a balance to that, of course. We just talked about WoW. Dude, you were playing WoW in college. You know how I know I'm a lot older than you? I was way past college age. I was playing Counter-Strike in college, bro. I'm
trash at Counter-Strike.
Yeah,
good game.
Great game, man.
Yeah,
that was kind of the first game that sucked my soul, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go join the army because I'm really good at Counter-Strike, and college isn't that much fun, so it'll be just like Counter-Strike. And then my recruiter was like, yeah, it's just like college but with drill sergeants. And I'm like, all right, cool, let's go, like this is gonna be easy. Third day I was like, ooh, let's not do this. And then
that is funny.
Today's my birthday, which sucks, and I was in training for the army on 9/11, and was my 21st birthday. So so anyway, that's my jam. Let's talk about some branding for a second, Quentin. I know this is what everybody wants to talk to you about, and you're probably sick of it.
No, I'm not. Just so long as it's meaningful,
Yeah. If and I'm not trying to like BuzzFeed you here, but like, what do you think that people do wrong with their branding consistently versus like, what do you think the standout people who like have quicker like rises do well?
Really good question. For my new show, my first guest is Lewis Howes. Second one is Sentia Deck, who's first female athlete ever to own a sneaker company, first female football player to sign a multi-million-dollar deal.
Wow.
And Lewis too, amazing things,
Mm-hmm.
When I look at people like that, one common thing that I think a lot of people miss in terms of branding is this idea of serialized narrative, serialized storytelling. I've said it often in a different way, and this is before I really understood like marketing terminology on this level, because I don't think a lot of people get this deep. I've called it the overarching story, which if you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, let's say, like Thanos is coming. That's that big story on the top that occurs over a long period of time, over multiple movies. If you look at like TV shows like Lost, It's got a serialized narrative, right? There's one story across the entire series, or maybe it's across the entire season, you know, like TV shows have this, movies have this. On a personal level, on a brand level, that serialized narrative is everything. If you look at one of my business partners, like Brema, for Urban Misadventures, he's launching this fashion brand, and let's just say TikTok, for example. He got a collab or is in talks. I'm not sure where he is at it. I'm not sure where he's at with it, but Levi's, like the company, he got a collab with him or is about to get a collab with him. I'm not entirely sure, but he took everybody on TikTok and they were on that journey with him. That is a serialized narrative. It doesn't have to be his entire life or an entire trilogy or whatever, you know. It's just like it's a season of his life, and he's taking his community on that season, so they feel like, wow, I just helped him get that collab with Levi's. I think a lot of people feel in that regard, and they don't have an actual story that's continuous, and I think that goes a long way. Lewis did it, you know, like early on, and he's doing it now again. Santia did it, and she's doing it again, and it continues. And I do it, you know, and I think now it can be simple. Like I'm on a journey to figure out like, how can I change the world? Like I want to work on meaningful shit. Like I want to like, let's colonize Mars, you know, like I want to be a part of the marketing, like that kind of stuff, like world changing stuff. I'm trying to figure out what that is for me. That's my tiny little serialized narrative right now. I'd say that's something major. Another thing I would say is people think of brand like logos. They think of brand like content. They think of brand like social media, and it's got to be all of those things combined. I was a musician for a long time, a singer-songwriter. You look at your favorite musicians, like you don't just love them for their voice, you don't just love them for their lyrics, for their aesthetic, for their album art, whatever. It's all of those things combined. Like it's that feeling that they elicit. You got to start looking at brand like that, you know, like an artist all combined into one, not just one thing that you like about them. But I'd say those are some things.
Man,
You think it's easier for people that have a meaningful, like you're saying, like something meaningful they're chasing, to build that storyline, or versus just, hey, I've got this thing that's going to help somebody overcome this thing?
It's a lot easier, but then again, I think a lot of people like have anxiety because they see these people with meaningful like storylines or whatever, and they're like, oh, that can't be me, or wow, they've got 1 million followers and I've got 10. But you could blow up overnight, you know. You could have 1 million, like that person that did like the dad YouTube channel, like just giving tips to people that didn't have a dad growing up. Like I resonate with that. I didn't have a dad growing up. That's dope. Like, and now he's got all these followers, you know, like it could happen overnight, and it doesn't have to be like ginormous. I think you just have to get out of your way. But I do think it's easier for people that are like, they have that mission, they know it, and other people are on it. But sometimes getting super, super, super niche is a way to reach the masses.
Q, how important is, because like I dig the whole serialized storytelling thing, you know, in the Brunson books, the ClickFunnels guy, he talks about it as like the soap opera story, you know, and things like this. You know, when you're working on this mission, right, and you're working, because it sounds like you're just being like, essentially saying, be really, really clear with your goals, so that way the people who dig your stuff can work or can be part of that journey, and then being open and vulnerable about the struggles and changes and things like this, so that way they buy in, is the way to go. Is that?
Yeah. But try not to think of it that way, if that makes sense, you know?
I know. It's so hard, right?
It's all manipulation, you know?
Oh,
and I study human behavior like a freaking scientist, and I love it. And I feel bad sometimes because I'm like, damn, like this is just a way to manipulate people. But that's what marketing is. And I think that's why I'm getting so bored, because I want to work on meaning. Like, at least let me manipulate for good, you know? But I think if we can not think of it like, this is a way for me to get to my goals. Instead, like, remember that conversation that you had with someone that is just starting their business, you know, or that conversation you had with someone that was in the same position that you were. Like, it's just a way for you, like, to grow, to reach your goals, but you're going to impact so many people that may be way bigger than you one day, you know, that may do something huge one day. Like, I think it's more about that than it is about getting people to buy in.
Well, sorry, and I'm not trying to approach it.
There's
from
nothing
like,
wrong with your language. Like, it is about that, you know, like,
I mean,
like,
you gotta, I mean, if you want some authority, you know, you need an audience, right, of some sort, right? And I'm not saying that everybody like needs an audience or should have an audience or anything else like this. I think a lot of people aren't done baking, you know, like I see some people and they're like, oh yeah, it's like
Yeah.
how much experience? And like I part of that is, you know, just me being a little bit older, and I'm like, oh yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. And then I'm like, wait a minute, okay, that's stupid, because I didn't feel that way when I was 27 or 28. um
It's true, man. It's like it's dangerous territory. Because
yeah.
like people look at me now and they're like, wow, you're an authority. I want to know what you have to say. But the only reason they want to know what I have to say is because I was talking so many times before when I was super young. I was
Mhm.
22. What the fuck? Like I look back at some things, I'm like, what are you saying, bro? Like what? Like, why would anyone do that? Or I would give like this advice to people like, oh yeah, go quit your job. Like do it now. Like
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that looking back because
Yeah.
everyone's in a different position, you know, but again, like the biggest thing I can say, and I think I've for the most part always done this, is like being a marketer, being an entrepreneur doesn't mean that you have to give life advice or business advice. Like sometimes it's just sharing where you're at, which I for the most part have always done. I know there are times where I step out and I'm like, do this, and that pisses me off so much, but like there is a balance, you know, and I think young people a lot of times need to take a step back. And I'm still young, you know.
Yeah.
I need to take a step back, and I'm really learning how to follow in this stage of my career, which is just foreign to me. The reason
Cool.
I became a leader is because I did not like the people that were in leadership, but I wasn't surrounded with good leaders. So now I'm really trying to surround myself with people that I can learn from, and a lot of that means shutting up and listening, which is it's just foreign, man.
Yeah,
It's
as a
foreign.
sales guy, yeah, man, you're hitting every note on the guitar that I also like to play. Like, stop making assumptions about other people's businesses, or you know what is best for them after like a 3-minute conversation, and
Yeah.
you haven't even asked any questions qualifying around these concerns that they're talking about. You know,
Mhm.
um, and yeah, I mean, I also hate the well, I did it, so therefore you do it, so just quit your job right now and go. And it's just like, man, I hope you answer the phone that very first night where they wake up in a cold sweat because they've quit the job and they don't know what they're doing, and all of
Mhm.
this risk is foreign to them. Like, I hope you're there to take that phone call as you were when you took this phone call. You told the person to just go out there on their own. Uh,
1000%.
Absolutely, yeah, man. Dude, I am so just jacked to be here today. Like I normally don't drink coffee in the mornings, like until after the show, but I'm drinking some coffee today, and I got my Jordans on.
Welcome, man. Welcome.
So yeah, Jake, you're grabbing your Jordans today. You get to go pick them up
Yes.
today. Ooh,
Nice.
bro.
What'd you get?
I
Ooh.
got the I got the notification from the post office, so I get to go. Which you hate, right? Because you're like, dang it, that means they were here and they were near me.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
but now I can go get them. So I'm
Out for
Are you
delivery.
still
Where's the
in
truck?
Dallas?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm on the Fort Worth side, but yeah. Um, what was
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you if you're
Well,
a sneakerhead because John and I are sneakerheads.
Yes. So I was not until Izzy, who's business partner.
oh,
That's right.
We did a women in sneakers
Oh,
podcast mini series, and yes, like
mhm.
I don't know what I don't know how I was not plugged in before.
look
You
at
know,
this
like
thing.
the
Look at
stories, man.
this is for Jake because this is his favorite one, and this
I
Yeah.
is my
was
first
never into
pair.
Jordans until
That's my
Really?
childhood.
I was not. I thought they were the worst shoe in the world
Oh man.
until the story. You know, like
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure.
Till,
Absolutely.
till the brands played in, right? Have you watched the thing on ESPN, Last Dance?
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Oh,
like 7
They
times.
did
So
such a good
dude, it's
job with
so
that
good.
story. It's
yeah, it's beautiful.
like, and so like my last name's Jordan. My birthday is February 17th. So was Michael Jordan's.
Is it?
Um,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Damn.
I played basketball when I was young. I played basketball and baseball were my sports. All my friends called me Air Jordan because I could stick my tongue out and do some cool layups. Like so.
The first
When I
time I
was
met
12,
the first time I met Jake, I thought he was gonna be like 5'5". I
because
don't know why, man. I
all you
don't
other
know
buddies
why.
were. Yeah,
But
It's
you were like my what are you 6'1", 6'2"?
yeah, 6'1",
Yeah, we're the same
and
height.
then
I was
and then John over here is what, 6'4".
I'm 6'4".
small mountain.
Small
Small mountain.
mountain.
Good.
John Hill is over the hill and is on to mountain Mountains.
Mountainous
Right.
territory. Yeah. So
Yes.
when Q came through Dallas the first time, it was actually Anna McAfee just yesterday launched her book about LinkedIn Local. And that's when I met Q the first time. As he came through town for Dallas was one of the first big city LinkedIn Locals. And Q came to speak, and of course to hang out with some of us that we'd all met online. And he walks into the place we were meeting, and he's got that black hat, right? And he walks in and he goes, "Damn, I miss tall people. Come here."
I was with like Goldie and
Yeah,
Alyssa.
people who were like
Well,
5 foot,
Rachel's tall.
maybe. Yeah, and then Rachel's like 5'10", so
Yeah.
or something crazy. So yeah, that was good.
Where are you at now? Is this an office? That looks legit.
Oh, that's my green screen work, man.
Really?
Yeah,
Damn, man, that's good.
good night. He likes my green screen. It must be decent.
That's good as
Man.
hell.
Yeah, I thought so. It's all about the lighting. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Q, you've been in your posts and stuff like this, you've been talking about shifting towards like waking up earlier and stuff like that. And I'm curious, with the gaming community is not known for going to bed early, right? And putting an emphasis on sleep and doing these things. How hard of a struggle has that been for you? Because I have been trying to become a morning person for about 15 years in fits and spurts, and always kind of end up defaulting to the mean of, last night I was up until 1 because I went out with the guys from the Throwdown, I had some beers, and then got home at like 10, wanted to kind of wind down and hang out. And then all of a sudden it's 1. I'm like, damn it, I'm supposed to go walk in the morning and I got the show. Like, how do you stay on that straight and narrow, especially being like a young dude, right? Like, I'm old and I got a family and like a kid and all these things. So like, I'm just staying up because I'm an idiot, but like, you're young and like got friends and, got cool stuff going on. Like, is it hard to be a morning person?
Yeah, sleep is important, like super important. At first it was very, very hard for me. Like I didn't like it. I was also in a really crappy apartment with no light. I'm in my office now, so there's not really much light in here, but like out there, like a bunch of light, like I'll wake up right away. And then when I had real purpose, when I had I'm going into the office, before COVID, like I was up all the time, like 4:30, like whatever, like cool, like walk my dog, go in. Like I was motivated by the fact that people weren't up. I love that. Again, I'm competitive. But recently, I don't know why, I just don't get up. Like today I was up at 6:30, which to some people is really early. To me, that's late. Because again, I know people are up. There's someone in my weight room downstairs and it pisses me off. They're up at 5:30. So I get up at 4:30 just because of that, because I want to lift a load. Like I want to lift a load. Like, but recently it's been very hard for me. And I've had to come to terms with the fact that I don't know myself as well as I thought I knew myself. And I am changing, I am evolving. And if I get up at 5:30, that's okay. If I get up at 8, that's okay. But I do want to get back in that habit. And I'm just trying to figure out what is going on with me, man. And there's a lot of changes, a lot of things going on in the world. So it's not so much hard because I stay up too late or I'm partying, because I'm not. Like I'd be okay with just sitting in my office all day, every day, honestly. So long as I could still observe. But yeah, I don't know. It was difficult at first, but I think now that I have light and I have a reason to get up, it's not too hard, but I still struggle.
You talked about being you study human behavior and stuff like this, and I'm also like a people watcher, and it drives my girlfriend crazy, right? Because like we're out someplace and I'm just like, oh well, that was interesting, oh well, that was interesting, and she was just like, would you stop staring at everybody else? And I'm like, I'm not just staring at girls, and I'm staring at guys too. Like I'm just trying to like watch what is going on. I'm trying to see how these humans interact with each other, and I dig that's like a focus for you as well, because like as a marketer and as a salesperson, as an entrepreneur and stuff like this, and you're trying to figure out your I feel like the more you people watch, the easier it is to figure out the target market and the niche and what's really important to them and how do you be really relevant. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like do you think that makes you better, all that study of people watching?
I think marketers think that marketing is marketing. And I know that sounds weird, but marketing is human behavior. Marketing is psychology, it's sociology, which is what I studied, sociology. Like that's what marketing is. It's not put this here, write this, take this photo. All of that it sounds weird, but it's the manipulation of people. It's eliciting a response in people, and if you understand people, you win. Like, I'm not a good salesman, but I'm a really good fucking salesman because I understand people. You know, like Izzy by definition is a way better salesman than me. But we'd go in meetings together, especially early on when we were trying to figure out each other's styles, you know, and I love working with him because he would go in a meeting and he's like, "Oh yeah, dude, how's your mom? Like, how you doing? Like, I love that you did this. I saw that game." And I'm just like sitting there, just saying nothing, you know. But then I'm like, okay, it's gonna be $3,000 a month, blah blah blah. Like, but I knew I could do that because I was watching and I knew that they were ready for it, you know. Like, I'm very direct, I'm very blunt. I'll make them feel good if I need to, blah 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 blah. But I know it works for me, and I know how much people can take of me and when they can take it because I understand people, you know. And Izzy's like, making
Go with the flow.
friends, blah blah blah, which
Yeah,
is good, which is
absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
But again, you know, it's people, it's understanding people. It's
All
the
right, Jake.
psychology.
I was gonna say, here comes.
Jake, here it comes. What do you think? What do you think Q is disc wise?
Oh, I know this too.
Oh,
Good.
what do I think he is? I think he is. Gosh, he's tough because he's a little bit of a hybrid, isn't he?
I am.
Yeah.
Answer me this: are you introverted or extroverted? I'm just curious. What would you consider
I'm
yourself?
not either, in my opinion.
He's ambi, but he did just say a second ago that he'd be okay sitting in his office all
That's
day.
the problem.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah. I feel like you're more introverted, just naturally.
Naturally, yes. Yeah. But I love people and I love conversation. That's the problem. Like, people never know where to move.
Yeah.
I love really deep stuff, you know. And okay, people think that introverts are quiet or don't want to talk, don't have friends. On the ENFP is my real one. They think I'm an extrovert, but I'm the most introverted of the extroverts, if that helps.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I put you on the SC side, and I don't necessarily put you on the
for sure.
side for sure.
I think, but
So I'm very high D, very high I.
Yeah, I can see the
what I
D for sure.
I'm a dick.
I was
Surprised by the eye.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking DC, honestly. I wasn't thinking I.
I'm very high D, very high I. Like
that-
like probably like I think it was like 98% on the D, and
Yeah.
then like 80, 70 I. Everything else was very low.
Interesting. Is that your perceived, or is that like your natural state?
So there was two. Okay, so the natural one, I was lower on the D, and then I was still high on I.
Interesting.
So in my work environment, I become more of a, let's get this shit done.
Absolutely.
Okay, get the fuck out of the way, and that's how I am.
Yeah, you have
Yeah,
to.
that's
right?
how I am.
mean, if you're going to lead other people, right? Like leadership is making decisions and living and die by buying those decisions with the information you have at the moment, right? And
Yep.
in my opinion, good leaders pass the wins onto the team and take the losses on themselves, right?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
you built the team, so this is your baby. So you want to bring the right culture. It's it's about, hey, look, I made the final decision and I was wrong based upon the information that I had. I have to live with that.
And then the I comes down in the
Yeah.
work, and it's like, I'm not as nice. I don't care so much about
Correct.
interpersonal relationships, and
Right.
then everything else is low. I don't want to touch the work. I don't even remember what the other thing is, but that was low too. And then personally,
Mhm.
the other things come up a little bit, but they're still below the threshold. And then the I goes way up. And I do love conversation. I do love talking to people. I do consider myself extroverted, even though I like to listen, I like to watch, and I prefer my alone time. But I do like people too. I just am selective with the people. And then my D comes a lot. I'm not as much of a dick.
Yeah, I mean, so D's get a bad rap, right? I mean, for sure. They're but like, here's the deal. Like as a salesperson, I love talking to D's because you know what? I know
Same.
exactly where I'm at. I know where I'm at, and if I'm talking to like an S or an I, it's like, hey, if this isn't a fit, could you let me know? Are you sure? Like really sure? Because like, I'd rather just like not have to chase you around, and I got to check.
What is S and C? I'm blanking again. I forget.
S means like steady motivator, steady relator, right? So they don't like conflict. They're very
that's
very,
not me. No.
Yeah, they're very like people driven, right? So they're people driven and they're fact driven. So what that typically looks like is, D's and I's are pure gut driven, right? Like Q would probably jump out of a plane and be like, I'm not going to die. I'll figure it out before I get there, because of that gut driven instinctual thing. S's and C's don't have as much of that. So
and then C was put your head down and kind of like you like working on the thing.
Dr. Spock, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Clear intentions, science, not a whole lot of empathy. Like I talk about being a robot, quite frequently because I am a C. So all of this stuff about being empathetic and being somewhat cheerful and energetic, like this is all like focused effort, because left to my own devices, I'm a little more chill than this. You know, Jake and I have known each other, what, 10 years, Jake? Is that true? Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's legit.
Yeah, we worked together at a bank 10 years ago, and just kind of became friends, and he went his route, I went mine, and then we both ended up in agencies, and then we tried to launch a podcast, like 2 years ago, and we were just going to interview people who were pivoting in their business, right? Like either the target market or their space, and we did one episode, and we got this guy so hyped to come on this show, and we interviewed him and stuff like this, and then Jake was swamped at the time, and I was swamped trying to figure out my stuff, because I was leaving the website company, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. And like, do I go run a sales team? Do I just go take a sales job? Do I start my own thing? Like, you know, and so we did one episode, and that was it. Never went anywhere else, you know. And
then we jumped out of the plane.
Huh? What?
Then we jumped out of the plane, and it was over.
Then we jumped out of the plane. But
pulled the ripcord.
Yeah, 10 years, man. That's insane.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to ask before we have to wrap, Q, is one of the big concept that really kind of started the show for us, besides just, hey, let's do something together, because we're both very competitive with ourselves.
Yeah.
We both want to win for ourselves.
I'm wearing a shock bracelet right now that I shock myself whenever I'm doing things in my conversations that I should not be doing. We a couple of weeks ago, we had the owner of this company on the show, because we're talking about like productivity and stuff like this. Like really, really cool dude. His name's Manesh. And I had been like, you know, oh man, you know, I'm just going to go browsing for microphones or some tech, and then I'll shock myself. I'm like, okay, get back to work. All right.
Do you do it yourself, or does it do it?
You can, this thing is so legit because you can hook it up to Zapier. So it connects to
damn,
like
that's legit.
I know, right?
That's
so
legit.
Like my biggest failure is going long in meetings. So the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this up to my
talk.
Yeah, I do. I'm going to hook. I just can't. I can't help coaching, right? Like I can't help coaching. Oh, you think that's a sales call? Let me show you a sales call. So I'm going to hook this up to my Google Calendar, so that way 2 minutes before the meeting is supposed to end, I get like a little vibrate, and then at the time of, it's just going to start like shocking me.
That's dope.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Pavlok. Pavlok.
That is legit, man.
Yeah,
write that down.
It's super cool, and he's coming out with like a new one. It's going to be smaller and everything else, but that's why we're here, is to get more done. And
my question was, we started with BIL bets is kind of the first concept we came with, right?
Yeah,
and
that's
it
fair.
was like, what we want to do is every week bet on ourselves, and we hold each other accountable every week to those bets. That's going to grow whatever we're trying to grow. It doesn't matter what we're working on, but and we've even expanded it a little bit as we've gone. But I'm curious, how do you, which I'm assuming you do, but how do you bet on yourself?
Yeah. I have like a disgusting, and that word is intentional. People would say it's bad, but I don't mind it. I have this disgusting belief in myself. I don't know where it comes from, because I feel like sometimes there's nothing that warrants it. Like, there's no like facts or data that backs it up sometimes. Like, I'm 22 years old. Let's jump in and start a company. I don't even know what a company really means, you know? Like, that was me. And like, that hasn't changed like at all. I pick things up. I like learning, and I think I can be the best at it no matter what it is. I think it's that Mamba mentality, you know, like that was my hero growing up. Like that was my Jordan. I love Jordan too, but Kobe was my Jordan. Kobe's Kobe. Everything, man. Like this company that I suppose is another failure. Like this new show that I'm launching, the Angel Fund, the incubator, I believe that whatever I do will be gold. And if it's not gold, I believe that it can lead to gold through something else. And it's who I am. And it's a flaw. I know it is, but it's also one of my greatest strengths.
How do you counteract that, right? Because, you know, everybody talks about the shiny thing and talks about, you know, how these, you know, because like you spin up something and you're like, oh, okay, like this is pretty easy. And then someone says, oh, could you do this? And yeah, sure. And all of a sudden you're stretched like super thin and everything else. And I feel like people who are really good at betting on themselves have a tendency of doing more of that because they overestimate their time and their focus and their attention. Have you learned any skills or tricks or things like this that when you see something like that, you're like, oh, I can make that great? of like, okay, like let's not do the Q thing and just go sprinting into this thing like wreak havoc, you know, like let's form the plan. Like how do you balance that out for yourself to make sure you
Yeah.
don't spread yourself too thin?
Yeah, two things. There's a book that our business coach made us read called Rocket Fuel, and it really talks about the relationship between the
Yeah.
integrator and the visionary.
Visionary.
Me
Yeah.
being the visionary, Izzy was always the integrator. I was the one that was crazy, that always was like, yeah, like, what about this? What about this? What about this? But like, it was research backed. Izzy was the one that ran the business. Like, I wouldn't be shit without Izzy. Our company wouldn't have been shit without Izzy. Having someone like that, if you're that person that's go, 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 is crucial for your success in business, like, period. Sometimes you have to be both. And I'm finding with this group that I'm a part of for this Black and Brown fund and incubator and everything else that we're working on, I have to be that integrator, which is foreign to me because I'm a visionary, but like, that's just who I am. But I'm always a person that pushes back, that pokes holes, that's more data driven because everyone else is a visionary, you know? So I'm finding that I have to be that, more of that integrator. So finding that balance within yourself is crucial, but also finding that person. Something else I do is like every quarter, and it's turning out to be every month now, I make a list of everything that I have on my plate and everything that I'm doing, all the tasks underneath it, and I cross off 75% of them, and I just let go of things, you know, and it feels really good. It's hard at first, but it feels really good. I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to do this. And you're in your head, you're like, wow, people are going to think I'm a fraud. I don't do what I say I'm going to do, but no one ever does. No one ever does.
You know, you're talking about being Rocket Fuel's a great book. If you have not read it and you're watching the show, you should go read it. Are you aware of that gap in the moment of like, oh damn, I need to be the integrator right now? Or was it just kind of like you looked up and you're like, oh, I'm being the integrator, and then you feel friction? How does that work?
So for me, again, like with the human behavior, I know all the time. My business coach, the other business coach, told me that I'm a very unique person, and I have this ability to think, and I think way too much, way too much. But I also have this unique like duality where I also act a lot. I do things a lot, which is rare. I was told, but I do get in my way sometimes, and I think too much. But for me, like, I am always thinking real time, and I am noticing these things real time. It's just who I am, and it's like, okay, this situation calls for this. I'm not really a chameleon. I'm always who I am. I'm always like a little bit annoying, like bold in your face sometimes, but when I'm needed, you know, like I'll shut up when it's needed. I'll be something else when it is absolutely needed in a room, in a party, you know, if like someone's crying in the corner, I'm going to go up to that person and see how they're doing because it's needed. So it is real time. They're all visionaries. I'm mapping out their personalities. We need this in order to succeed. That is a part of my visionary. That is just who I am.
Dude, that's fire, man. Holy shit.
Well,
I
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I think self-awareness is a huge part of that because you know
Oh,
not everybody can be a unicorn. You know, we're all unicorns, just different ways, right? So
Yeah.
it's like if you start with self-awareness though as a goal, then you can take whatever mold you are and react in real time if you choose to. Because I think
And
that's
it's
a skill set.
exciting too. Like
Hmm?
the self-awareness, like I've been learning more about myself again. And it's so cool, man. Like I
yeah.
miss this. I was bored when I knew who I was, you know? Like,
Sure.
I Clint, who's on the show, who's the D on the show. Our show, we have one person sitting in each one of these four quarters of disc. We have a D, an I, and S, and
the
a C.
first time you said D, I was like, what is he talking about? Like,
That's fair. Sorry.
is he an asshole?
Yeah, inside baseball. No,
Director? Like,
no, D personality type.
yeah.
And Clint works at a publicly traded company. He's a pre-VP of construction. He's got like a $23 million quota and stuff like that. So obviously he's playing at a different level. But his background is he was in the Marines, and he was a Marine Raider, which is like Marine Special Forces. Like he could wear a beard and stuff like that. Like legit human being.
Yeah.
And whenever that dude started learning this stuff, and like I could like see him, and he fought it. You know, he fought it and fought it. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. And then we were talking about this last night. He goes, something clicked. Like, and it wasn't the coach who said it. It was somebody else on the course. And they said, hey, look, you know, this works with the data and everything else. And he goes, oh, that's why I got to pay attention to this. And he didn't get into the data side of it. He got into the disc side of it. And when this dude is capable of going like scorched earth in the most insane ways. Like, I mean, some of the stuff, you know, his stories and everything are just so crazy. And when you talk with him now and you see the level of self-awareness and the work that he has put in and how he's able to, because these are usually the worst people about being self-aware, because they just don't care about anybody else, right? Like, I'm going to win at all costs. And if you don't like it, fuck off, you know, all these things. And so to like watch this guy who's got, you know, every reason in the world to like not put in this work, right? To do it in, I mean, he's shifted and now he's running this team. So he's having to learn like, okay, cool. Like I can't just burn it down. I can't be the individual producer. And so he's calling back on like all of his stuff of being in these like Marine teams, you know, and like, okay, cool. Like how would we do this in the Marines? Okay, cool. Like let's go about it this way and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And man, the self-awareness thing is the key, right? And I tell people this all the time because, you know, I coach on salespeople and they're like, cool, like I want to learn the disc stuff. I'm like, cool, you need to start with yourself. Well, I don't need this for myself. And I said the same thing, right? Like my business partner said, hey, you need to come take this assessment. And I was like, I don't need an assessment to sell. This is stupid. And he goes, we're not working together if you're not going to do this. And I was like, all right, your money. And then I go take the assessment and my whole world shifts, like completely changes. I'm like, there's other people that are like me. I'm not like the only weirdo who wants like really clear expectations. This is so bizarre. And it's not enough to just know it. Like you have to know yourself in relation to all of this other stuff. So that way you can shift and, you know, perform well.
There's some really cool ones out there too. There's a unique one that I got to send you guys from my friend. Like measures like mental stamina and all these other things, like
legit
how innovative you are. I don't have a lot of mental stamina. I can't work on things that don't matter to me. And I never had words for that, but I just, sometimes I'm like, I'm going to go play video games because I'm drained, but I can work on something that matters to me all day, every day. But I'll send you the link when I.
Yeah, there's actually a cool group. I think they're a national group. I'd love to see what yours is. And they have a similar thing. They call it a battery. And they, or fire, and actually they tell you how long your mental capacity can burn. Are you a slow burner or a fast burner? And that's the way they described it. And same thing, when I saw that, I was like, holy cow, that totally explains. Like I can work so hard on things I care about, and then I am out on everything.
Yeah. My girlfriend hates it. She hates it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
you just worked on it. You just played video games for how long, and you can't paint the wall.
That's right. Right. Nope. Do my test. Can't do it. I wish that worked.
what I think is interesting is there's so many of these assessments, you know, and there's personality index and culture index and DISC and Myers-Briggs and 16 personalities and all of this stuff. Yeah, Enneagram, you know, which is like honestly one of the better ones I've done here recently. Strength finders, you know, like I love whenever people show up and they're like, you know what, I'm an integrator, I'm an integrator celestial like human, and I'm like, I don't remember what those are.
Yeah, which test is that?
Yeah, exactly. But I take everyone I can get my hands on, and I took this really cool one. A friend of a friend had built it, right, and it's called Basis, and her name's Pam Teagard, and what it does is it measures you in these kind of like 13 kind of main things in business, and then it also shows you what you lose access to when you're like stressed out, right? Because for me, like I lose all my creativity when I get stressed out. Like I just put my head down. I'm like, do the work. Yeah. And so the more you can learn about that stuff of, okay, cool, like this gives me energy and this doesn't, and this saps me, and this is what I lose. And because now I can go to my family, and when I'm stressed out, I'm like, hey, look, if I'm cold or anything else like this, I'm not upset with anybody. It's just I'm in task mode today, and I got a lot of them. So, and having to hit that conversation so many times over and over and over and over and over. But you know, that level of self-awareness, man, is huge. And it's so funny because like I love this stuff, and my girlfriend for a long time didn't, because you start to learn this stuff and you use it badly and everybody hates you for it, you know, like, oh yeah, what do you mean by that? You know, what keeps you up at night, bro? You know, and like all these like terrible sales questions and everything. So now I'm like I drag her into this thing, you know, and it's so cool to see these other people like, oh, that's what that means. You know what I'm saying? And I it's the most fascinating thing to me. Like if I could just run people through DISC assessments or the assessment of their choice and then go super deep with them, and like that was all I did all day, every day.
Hey, man, I know people that make a good living off
I was
of
gonna
it.
say
So.
that sounds like a passion right there.
Yeah, that's fair. I need to make some money first. That's gonna be a passion of or a hobby passion.
This is what me and John go round and round about Q. Is because I'm the meaningful passion working with you
Integrator.
most guy, and John's like, yeah, but that's cool, and that can make money, and that would be cool, and if we connected those things, and like,
So okay,
I'm
so
like a
we
mix of
challenge
the
each
two.
other that way, right?
so
Because
let's talk about something
John wants to
because
work on meaningful stuff. I'm not saying that at all.
yeah,
He just also loves good ideas, right?
Mhm.
So it's one of those things where
you know, I spent and Q, you talked about being a singer songwriter, and I think that musicians are some of the best marketers on the planet because you just have to be these days, right? Like you can do so much with all these social media channels. And a friend of mine, he's a drummer. He used to drum for Ben Harper and left that. Now is not behind the kit anymore and is like doing his own singer songwriter thing. His name's Son of Stan. He's legit. And hearing like watching him market himself and like transform as like the drummer of like this guy who was on stage with Ben Harper and Ringo Starr and like some pretty high names to like now fronting this band on a much smaller level, but being just like so ecstatic about it, and some musicians are fantastic marketers because you have to be, but like I've spent the majority of my life feeling like I'm not a creative person at all, like don't really have it in me. I'm more of just like, okay, let's go figure this out. So then I get into business, right? And I start to like learn these things, and this thing kind of becomes my creative outlet, right? And it's this thing of like, I get an idea, I'm like, cool, like how could we monetize this thing so that way it makes sense, right? I mean, because it's time, right? And time's the non-renewable resource. So if I'm going to give you time, I need something back, something, and with Sales Lab, it's my kind of way to try to help everybody with sales stuff is, if you bring me 2 guests, yours is free. Like just bring me 2 guests and you don't have to pay for yours this month, because like that's how important I think that the reps and the practice is. When you are how do you think about pricing? How do you think about monetization? How do you think about this? Because I'm willing to bet that deep down inside you have that D that's like, okay, cool, like this is all good, I want to go do meaningful stuff, but money's how we keep score, right? Do you have that?
Yeah, again, I'm a weird person, man. I'm a mix of you and Jake. Not saying you don't care about money, because I think you do, but I look at ideas and I'm all about the creativity. But in my head, whether I'm a visionary or not, I poke holes in everything. I'm the most skeptical, optimistic in the world. My girlfriend brought me an idea. She's like, you need to meet this person. I'm like, why? Like, does he do this? Does he do this? Like, what about this and this and this and this and this? Just making sure that it aligns. It's terrible of me and I hate it, but that's how I am sometimes. Like, I'm really good at making money, like really, really freaking good, because it's all about poking holes, and I need to make sure that there's money in the idea. Unless it's like, I'm going to go play video games for 7 hours because I need to recharge, But everything for me, I view it like a science experiment. I have a hypothesis, like I have my means of testing, like I'm going to track it, like let's go. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But for me, everything is a science. I literally have a scientific notebook.
that's awesome.
This is my scientific notebook.
That's legit right there.
So wrap us for this, Q, because we got to roll.
Yeah. I've got a meeting too.
Yeah, because I got meetings. I think John's got meetings.
That green screen, man, you look like you got like 20
it's
meetings.
Legit, right? It is
like,
so
that
good.
is the best green screen I've ever seen.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Yeah. Here, behind the curtain. You're gonna love this. But if you can end with us on this, look at this green sheet.
Wow.
All it is.
That's insane, bro. That looks
good.
really good.
It's all about
lighting.
lighting.
It's all about lighting on green screen stuff. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
So tell me this. What's with your scientific approach? How can you? I'm gonna kind of hybrid this thing. Self-awareness takes you where you want to go. It helps you get places that you couldn't go before. Helps you be better, right? But you like the scientific approach. Is there a scientific approach that you found to self-awareness?
It's a good question. Yeah, I guess. What's the hypothesis? I really like PB&Js. That's your hypothesis. How are you going to test it? You're going to eat it. Okay. then you're going to track it. I did not like this. I do like this. And I don't think it's a destination. I really understood who I was last year. I was so self-aware. And then all this stuff happened. And then these questions I started asking, I realized like I didn't like being called the Black entrepreneur. Like, and then all these things started resurfacing, and like, I don't know who I am. I have a good idea, it's probably similar to who I was, but there's this evolution. So I'm testing things again. What's a hypothesis? Q. I'm actually more of a C than I am a D, like I don't think I am, but maybe that's my hypothesis. Write it down, track it, and then continuously go. I'd say it is science. Like everything is science.
We just became best friends, Q. You like maybe not on your end, but on mine, like as the sales data driven CRM consultant guy, I'm like gonna get.
Dude, I wish I was more like you, because
I'm gonna put Q's face on a T-shirt and just wear it, and on the back it's gonna say Q says track. And
I will put your face of you having a T-shirt of my face on a T-shirt.
Dude. And then Jake can have a picture of you wearing your shirt with me wearing my shirt with you. Oh man, this is gonna get meta. This is awesome.
Oh, I appreciate you both. This was legit.
Q, this was awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Final words for anybody who is like watching this that you might not have talked about, and you want to promote anything, talk about anything you have going on right now?
New show launching soon. I'm not really sure when, and I'm taking my time on it, but
cool.
It'll be different. I'm not sure if it'll be great, but it'll be different.
There you go. Bill, real quick, you paying money this week, or did you get it all done?
I did it, bro.
You got it all done? Yep. Vegetables and everything?
All of it.
Legit.
Is you betting on yourself?
Yeah, every week.
Every week. We have like a standing $500 bet to a cause that we don't like. And it's different for each of us. And
cool.
if we do our bets, the productivity or accountability partner says, okay, like that was really outside of your comfort zone. That was really struggle for you and stuff like this. So you make 30% of the dollar amount, right? And then you make that money, because betting on yourself is fantastic. But when you're doing fear-based motivation, because that's what motivates most people, you have to have a mechanism in there, or I feel like, that actually shifts the thinking towards the positive side of this thing. If I go do these things and I manage my time well and I'm focused and everything else like this, it's not just that I don't lose, I can actually win, right? So, we're kind of playing with this of, and what it's done so far is just made me and Jake like kind of not care about $500. It's like, it's,
crazy. The first thing we started at 100, and then it's like this hockey stick thing. Like right now we're like, let's do daily bets and let's start throwing keys on the table and stuff, like,
Damn.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That sounds scary. I like it.
And it's cool though, because like we try to do one work thing, one like health thing, and one family thing, because we both have kids and families and stuff like this. And so a couple of weeks ago, my bill bet was that I was gonna have to end my day every day at 4, which is incredibly hard for me, right? Because like I'm gonna work until 7 or dinner time or whatever that is. And so I told my family about it. And Melissa, my partner, who's also on my team, at 3:58, she's like poking her head out. Hey, you done? We're not paying. You done? I'm like, it's cool, man. It's really, really cool.
I like that. I like that a lot.
The buy-in, because she does not want me funding the cause. So works out on both sides. Buy-in.
Yep. Cool. All right, guys. Well, you know what? Q, awesome to see you again. Great to catch up. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate you.
Blown away, man. Thank you very much. This was awesome.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Let's just catch up soon off air.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Can I take off, or do you need me?
No, we're taking off too. So.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Q.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Q's the man. So treat there for y'all.